welcome everyone to another episode of the Adeptus Ridiculous Podcast. My name is DK Diamantes. His name is Bricky. You know why you're here. But before we get into that, if you enjoyed today's episode and you want to support the podcast, head over to patreon.com/Adeptus Ridiculous, where you can get access to our Discord, bloopers if they happen. $15 tier gets you access to all of our posters in digital HD format, or you could maybe pick up the legally distinct Carcharodon Space Marine. Patreon.com/Adeptus Ridiculous. Bricky?
Shh. Do you hear that? That is the Alpha Legion, and they are in your new sphere. They are in your Vox, and they are stealing your precious adamantium and lasgun charges so they could throw them back at you with explosive potential. And that's because you did not have a VPN. So let me introduce you to today's sponsor, ExpressVPN. Having a VPN is an excellent tool at your disposal. With a click of a button, ExpressVPN reroutes and encrypts 100% of your online browsing activity through their secure servers around the world. Doing so not only stops your ISP from spying on you or possibly selling your info to data brokers, but it also keeps you safe from hackers or data thieves who may be on the same network as you are. And also, in my personal opinion, one of the best features is to unblock content that is not available from areas around the world. It is incredibly shocking that the famous Lord of the Rings is only available in certain countries, and some of you are just left in the dust. But with ExpressVPN, that is no longer the case. Now, depending on whichever app you're using, whether it's Netflix or Disney Plus, it doesn't matter which country you're in, you can watch the programs you deserve to. ExpressVPN has 24/7 customer support. It is incredibly easy to use. You can use up to 8 devices, and it has some of the fastest speeds around. So go to expressvpn.com/Adric to get an extra 3 months of ExpressVPN for free. Thank you so much for sponsoring this video, and let us continue with the topic.
Yay! Yay!
Oh my God, that was so funny. You cut out when you said that because of Discord, and you were like,
yeah! Yeah!
It's like the Moist Critical meme where it's like, whoa, but he disappears.
Yep. This is gonna be a fun one to edit together because Discord is acting very weird with us today. So have fun, Shy. Woo! Yay! Yippee!
All right. So today's episode is a different one. So me, Brickolas, am leaving for PAX West coming up, and because of that, we need to film this episode much more early. So by the time this goes live, I will have already gone and come back from PAX West. So we're doing it really early, and because it was so early, Shy is taking the reins on this one. We had the Kira episode last time, and because of short time frames and travel, she had an idea to create a, as she puts it, 24,000 word novella about something or the other.
Wow, really? She put together a novella? Wow, okay, cool.
I mean, let's scroll up about 7 lines. Okay, I have 24K words novella.
Oh. I guess I didn't. Oh, no, yeah, she did. Boy, it's a morning for me, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be a fun one. This is going to be a fun one.
We're chatting on a Wednesday today, which is not normal, but long story short, Shy has topics and ideas and important things that you would like to, or that we would like to chat about.
Okay.
So let's do it.
Let's dive right in. Let's see what she's got. Let's see what she put together.
All right, DK, we're gonna switch off. We're gonna switch off reading her thing. Pick a number between 1 and 2.
2.
Okay, you start.
Somehow I knew that's how it was gonna go. Siphoning through my brain, I was like, if I pick 1, he's gonna make me go first. If I pick 2, he's probably also gonna make me go first.
No, I just chose 1 or 2, so.
Okay.
You go. So you go first the moment it's posted.
Okay. I'm waiting. I'm okay. So, Shai says, ring the bell of lost souls, boys, because the topic of today's episode is loyalist Space Marine chapters who got absolutely wrecked, wiped out, destroyed, deceased. Chapters are now bereft of life and rest in peace. Chapters who met their maker and closed due to no staff. Wow. All right. Note, chapters that disappeared for no reason, died in a single line with no lore, or deserted to chaos, those don't count. After all, we want death, and we want it in the gory details. Oh, and this episode will be full of spoilers, as with any death-related topic, so if you want to read a book where a Space Marine can maybe die, turn this episode off now.
Hell yeah. All right. I guess it's my turn now. If we're bouncing between two.
Yeah, I guess it is your turn, yeah.
All right, so let's start by immediately breaking the established rules with honorable obituaries. Number 1, 2 Space Marine legions who died of Ligma and Sugma, respectively, during the Great Crusade. Lamenters, who wish they were dead. Firehawks, who died in an unfortunate accident when somebody flushed a clogged toilet during the warp transition, but got to return as Legion of the Damned. Maybe not. That's a weird lore thing. Mm-hmm. The Scythes of the Emperor, who almost entirely died because they failed a perception check to notice that the whole population of their world had purple skin and a lot more arms than they should. As someone playing a lot more Baldur's Gate lately, that I appreciate. I'm trying to figure out why this old lady is force feeding this lady pie. I will find this information out one day.
The purple skin is like, oh no.
So, bunch of Space Marine chapters who perished during the Abyssal Crusade in the Eye of Terror without ever turning traitor. Good on them for dying. And of course, Angels Excelsius, Burning Blood, Brothers of Gerard, Angels Glorious, 4 other chapters plus 12 chapter masters who got wiped out during the devastation of Baal. Even though Blood Angels saw the bugs coming, unlike the Scythe guys, they unfortunately forgot to drink whatever juice gives Ultramarines the ability to defeat a hive fleet, except by losing at most 100 guys and a few limbs on their chapter master. Yeah, it's
Ouch.
kind of the devastation of Baal is called the devastation of Baal because let me tell you, they got
devastated. Yeah, sheesh. It sounds like the Blood Angels suffered some big ol' losses. Hence the name, as we said, Devastation of Baal. You're probably not coming out of that unscathed.
Friend of the channel, Brad from Warhammer Podcast, is a big Blood Angels fan, and he has relentlessly also tried to get me to read the Devastation of Baal series, and I am not going to do it until he reads the Night Lords books. So maybe it won.
What? Poor guys haven't read the Night Lords trilogy?
It's not as popular as you might think it is.
Maybe not, but like, ugh.
I know, man, I know.
Hey, Poor Hammer, once you guys read the trilogy, we'll read Devastation of Baal.
Better yet, we'll chat together. We'll do a collab book club episode on both.
Ooh, I like it because they're really cool. Anyway, but yeah,
this is a threat. All right, you are up.
Whoa, that is. Hold on, I gotta scroll way back up. Okay. The main honorable obituary, the Crimson Fists. The Crimson Fists would never actually die off entirely, and they are still putting their fists to work, currently in the Nachmund Rift War that we just talked about. But one hilarious event in their history truly put the fist on the other hand and nearly led to their full extinction. So I'm allowing this one in. After that, only death, I swear. These guys are a direct splinter chapter of the OG Imperial Fist. The chapter's name derives from the ceremony conducted at the initiation of the new chapter masters, where they fist bump each other and call each other bro till their fists bleed. Really? They just... all right. Anyway, I'm only partly joking, but let's get to the biggest joke, the infamous invasion of Rin's world. Rin's world is not to be confused with Disney World, but it might as well be. Despite being a recruiting world of the Crimson Fists and their main base, it's an extremely peaceful place where all citizens are such softies, unused to any kind of violence, that the Crimson Fists refuse to recruit them at all, not tolerating any Disney adults in their midst. Fists prefer to recruit on a neighboring world called Bad Landing, which is a much grittier place and therefore produces a lot fewer Californians. However, woo, California, California mentioned.
I love smog.
Ooh, yeah. That, however, didn't help bad landing much when the orc warlord Snagrod, the arsonists of Charadon, invaded the planet with his wah and wiped out all the Yumi scum, significantly increasing the overall property value. The Crimson Guys deployed a fisting squad of 100 Marines to provide orcs with much-needed colonoscopy, but they underestimated the opponent, and their drop pods landed among approximately 10 billion angry Shreks. No fisting was done that day, and under 50% of Space Marines got out alive and figured that it was a good time to go home to Rin's world. Though populated by space pussies, the planet was actually superbly defended with massive fortress monastery, a top-of-the-line orbital defense system, and a lot of still-living Crimson Fistineers. When Warlord Snagrod eyed up the virtually impregnable defenses of the Space Marine planet, some grots suggested that attacking it directly was a suicide. Snagrod slapped the teeth off the Git's face, declared that when he's in charge, every mission is a suicide mission, and the orcs charged into Rin's world head-on. Meanwhile, Crimson Fists were giving each other Crimson Fist bumps because their surface-to-space defense system was one of the best ever built. And would you know it, invading orc ships got absolutely annihilated. Children of the world were delighted with the spectacle of burning metal shrapnel and orc body parts raining from the sky. For a while. You see, the missile knows where it is at all times. It knows this because it knows where it isn't. By subtracting where it is from where it isn't, or where it isn't from where it is, whichever is greater, it obtains a difference or deviation.
It's a meme. Don't worry about it, DK. It's a meme.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I was like, what the fuck are we talking? Anyway, this time it didn't. One of the missiles malfunctioned and went off course, directly into the Crimson Fist Fortress Monastery, specifically its main arsenal. The resulting detonation was spectacular, killing 800 Crimson Fists, all chapter serfs, vaporizing all their equipment, weapons, and gene seed, completely annihilating the fortress, disabling the anti-space defenses and bringing much joy mixed with slight confusion to the orcs watching fireworks from orbit. Ay, ay, ay. The orcs landed and burned every single city on the planet to the ground, took everything that wasn't nailed to the walls, and besieged the surviving Crimson Fists in the last unconquered city for 18 miserable months until reinforcements arrived and chased the orcs off. Crimson Fist took a few hundred years to rebuild their ranks, clear up their ears, and fix up their wardrobes from all the swirlies and wedgies they were given. Since then, they mainly function as orc hunters. Personally, I would hunt down the asshole who built their rocket defense system with some Boeing-type engineering, but whatever. Yikes! So they had a missile malfunction, and it just blew up their defenses, and that led to the orcs just walloping them.
In reality, I'm imagining it like that one quest in Fallout New Vegas where you mess with the ghouls' rocket system that they were trying to go to like their religious great journey or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then in reality, it's just a bunch of orcs like slamming on the keyboard. It's like, I think this one it's gonna go towards them, and then it just blows up. It actually makes sense too. Crimson Fists, I think, are really good at hunting at like packs of people. If I'm not mistaken, their rules back when they had like a sub chapter was like if the enemy unit you're attacking has like 5 or more models, you get like benefits.
Oh, okay.
So I think it was something along those lines, which was kind of a neat vibe. They also have Pedro. I think they're very like Spanish, kind of like their chapter master is like Pedro Cantor. They're pretty popular faction. Yeah, they're kind of neat.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're part of the Blood Angels, right? And Blood Angels very popular. So
no.
Wait, I thought they. Oh no, we were. Never mind. I'm mixing up the difference. Okay, never mind.
No.
Well,
which chapter do you think the Crimson Fists are part of?
maybe the Imperial Fists.
There you go. Okay, good. Thank goodness.
Yeah. It suddenly dawned on me. I was like, yeah, why would they be Blood Angels when their name is Crimson Fist when there is literally an Imperial Fist that exists? Yeah. Lol.
Anywho, Crimson Fists, they got like a decent. Maybe they're not the most popular or anything, but they have some decent stuff. They only have like one named character, and that model is kind of old, but it's not bad. It's not bad.
Yeah, sure. They got bodied. That sucks.
It does suck, but they're chilling. They're coming back. Okay. So actually extinct Space Marine chapters. There's the Marines Vigilant. As we effortlessly came from the previous topic into the next one, because Marines Vigilant were wiped out by our new friends, Crimson Fists. Marines Vigilant were 100% loyal until one day when they faced a truly horrific Xenos enemy, which I do not know, but I suspect Harad. The war between or against these Xenos was so horrific, the Marines Vigilant completely gave up fighting and went into hiding. After they ghosted all their superiors up to the High Lords multiple times, the Ordo Malleus finally decided that it's better to be safe than sorry. The Marines Vigilant were declared Xenos tainted, and the Crimson Fist arrived to their world to provide, in my opinion, aka in Shai's opinion,
yeah,
clearly innocent and traumatized soldiers with some American healthcare. Vigilant Chapter refused to fight back in any way and died in droves to cyclonic torpedoes as Crimson Fist reenacted the whole "Are we the baddies" bit on their ships in orbit. The entire Space Marine chapter was destroyed, and the Crimson Fist considered the whole ordeal to be the most embarrassing part of their history and tried to forget it ever happened.
Oh boy.
That has very like Months of Shame vibe a little bit.
It really does. So to sum that up, Marines Vigilant thought maybe the Hrud couldn't do anything about them, gave up, went into hiding. Crimson Fist were like, lol, traitors, killed them all, and they were like, oh, that we did kind of a bad thing.
Yeah, I mean, you would think that after the amount of times they just never fought, they'd be like, you know what? Maybe there is something here. Or you know what? They'd probably be like, typical Xenos deception. They're gonna not fight us, and they're gonna lure us into a sense of self-confidence. And then
that might be what the Imperium would think, honestly, because they're not really big on being merciful to turncoats or mutineers or deserters. So, yeah.
Also, they just everything is so, untrusting.
Yeah, you can never trust anything in 40K because, Tzeentch exists.
Tzeentch exists. I mean, chaos in general exists.
True.
There's so much of that. Also, isn't that in the opening crawl of every Warhammer game out there? It's like it's the main tagline before the "In the Grim Darkness there's only war." It's the there's no longer a place of tolerance. Like this is the cruelest regime, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Anywho, you're up.
All right, Marines Mordant. The Marines Mordant fought against numerous enemies of the Imperium, including the Orc Empire of Octarius. But at some point, they effed up in some serious way and got sent 100-year penance crusade through the Tempest Hippocrene, which in turn led them directly into High Fleet Leviathan. Oh no. Not a stranger to putting on white makeup and red noses, Marines Mordant attacked the High Fleet by themselves. Their battle barge, Assiduous, suffered serious damage, and Marines quickly lost 2 companies of battle brothers before deciding that bugs got hands and it's time to go home. Unfortunately, when they returned home, they got another pie in the face in the form of all their defense forces turning traitor to Alpha Legion and unleashing a planet-wide chemical attack that induced mass panic and bloated out the planet's sun. In the chaos, Chapter Master Taro Paladax presumably forgot to take his brain medicine and agreed to open the gates of Fortress Monastery to help the panicking refugees. Shockingly, this was another ruse by the Alpha Legion forces, who immediately stormed the Citadel through the wide open doors. Realizing that they were just too dumb to live, loyalists inside lowered the void shield of the fortress, allowing the orbiting battle bards to unleash an orbital bombardment that annihilated both sides, killing off the Marines' mordant for good. Slide whistle.
I can't do a slide whistle sound.
Yep, that is yikes. Did they do anything right?
Is that me when I say hi to my dad?
Yeah, have you ever done anything right? Waste of gene seed. Blah.
Bah, waste of perfectly good gene seed.
But yeah, it just sounds like they got bodied at every corner. Like, oof.
That's actually like, it's so funny though. Some like, you know, mutually assured destruction is such a common thing when it comes to these things. It's just wild to see. Yeah. Well, yeah, sci-fi, but also like 40K stuff. It's just absolutely wild to see how much it happens to like Space Marines, which are supposed to be the finest, and then they do very unfine things.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It gets me.
Yep.
What do we got here? 3, the Chorus of Eltane. There isn't much to these guys specific. What a cool name. There isn't much to these guys specifically because few things are known about them until they invaded the Eye of Terror during the Abyssal Crusade in M37 and died to death. But the story of their support world is kind of funny. You see, workers on the Triforge Cluster Forge worlds, that's a mouthful.
Yeah, say that 10 times fast.
Were awarded the honor of producing a single predator for the chapter every year, which they did with great pride. A single predator is it's like a type of streamer that they use for Minecraft.
I was about to say, as soon as you said it, I was like, this. I know where this joke is going. We're going into. Yep. Okay.
A predator is a main battle tank. It's like a firstborn era main battle tank.
I am also glad that you know me so well that you knew that as soon as you read that, my brain was like, what's a predator? What's a predator? What's a predator?
Yeah,
and I was waiting for a moment to be like, Bricky, what's a predator?
Thank God. All right, we can trust DK. He doesn't even know what a predator is.
Hooray!
Yeah, so that's what it is. It's basically a rhino with a big gun on it.
Ooh, okay, cool.
Yeah, so it's pretty classic. That, you know, with all like the new Primaris stuff, they've adjusted and they have like the Gladiator and they have the Repulsor and they have all these other big tanks, but the Predator is like kind of like the main 2005 era tank, you know.
It looks great.
Yeah, it's fun. It's very 40K.
Yeah.
Anyway, they produce a single predator for the chapter every year. But when the Chorus Marines got liquefied on some faraway world in the Hell Dimension, Administratum kind of forgot to tell it to the workers, so they continued to produce predators every year, which then sat collecting dust for several millennia. Until, of course, our favorite stinky lads from the 14th Legion invaded the world in M42 and got absolutely shocked by the sight of a giant parking lot filled to the horizon with thousands of unused predator tanks, which they promptly started corrupting into the service of Nurgle. Finders keepers, I guess.
Losers weep, yeah. Also, I'm shocked that the workers on that planet were just like, well, I guess we've got a parking lot full of these things and no one's come to collect. Keep building them. Like, nobody ever thought, like, maybe we should contact someone. Maybe we should, like, send an astropathic message back to Terra and be like, guys, you haven't picked up your shipment in, like, ever. Like, it's been like 100 years. You guys want these things, or should we stop? Or like, you'd think somebody would do something.
You know, I think it's the fact that like it takes. Sometimes you do like a warp travel and you go do like a war, and that war takes like 3 generations to end, and so like it's just taking a long ass time. You know, like don't worry about it.
True. I guess. Yeah. And with the administratum, this is one of those things that could very easily, even if they did send a message, this would very easily get lost in the cracks with all of the administratum nonsense and all of the billions of planets that they have to administrate. Well, it might literally take them 100 years before they got the message.
Mm-hmm. All right. So Shai has two separate spoiler tag things here. You do the first, I'll do the second.
Okay, they're both the same faction, but all right. The Crimson Consuls. Have you heard the tale of cringe consuls of the dead? It's not a tale loyalist Space Marine fans will tell you. Things started well for our Ultramarine successor chapter when the entirety of the first company was obliterated, assaulting the orc-infested Space Hulk, taking every one of the chapter's Terminator suits with them. Oh, that's... When the first company heard a countdown sounding on board the Hulk, they teleported into its engineerium, hoping to sabotage its warp drives before it jumped back into the warp. However, they found it already sabotaged by someone else. Before they could escape, the Hulk exploded, detonating its warp drive and opening an immaterium anomaly in real space that turned everyone on board into chunky salsa. Two further companies were lost on the planet of Phaeton 4 after the Celebrants chapter was ordered to withdraw from the planet and the Crimson Consuls were left alone to defend the world. The order was never actually given by a government official and came from an unidentified source. The orcs overran consuls. They fought bravely, almost halting the fledgling Wah in its tracks. However, brave Marines managed to snatch the defeat from the jaws of victory by accidentally waking up Necrons entombed on the planet and getting melted by Gauss guns. Bad luck. Oof. The third and fifth companies of the consuls, who were engaged in the Damocles Crusade, tasked with hunting down Commander Farsight, were actually killed years ago, but someone kept making up fake astropathic reports pretending to be them alive and well. Right after that ruse was discovered, the 8th Company, who were 2 systems away from the chapter's homeworld hunting Black Legion Marines, ceased sending contact altogether. As the Crimson Consuls slowly lost contact with large parts of the forces, Chapter Master Elias Artegal realized they were under some sort of insidious attack. Better late than never, I suppose. Yeesh. Yeesh. You want to finish someone off, or you want me to keep reading it?
Yeah, no. Actually, you're on a roll. Roll with it.
Okay. He ordered the fortress monastery secured and fortified. However, within mere moments, the compound became compromised from within as Crimson Consul turned their bolters on each other. Artegal and his officers charged through the chaotic fighting to secure position of his command center, only to find it already occupied by Black Legion Marines. Artegal was taken captive, and his surviving officers were immediately executed. A Chaos Marine from the Alpha Legion revealed himself and explained how it was me, Austin! It was me all along! Many years ago, Alpha Legion had set corruption in motion. Consul recruits were brainwashed even before induction with psychosensitive words written on the walls of Carcarius' underhives, and a mere phrase was all that was needed to turn them against their non-brainwashed brothers. The Crimson Consuls had fallen, and their stocks of Genesine will be pledged and delivered to Abaddon as a gift to replenish the numbers of his Black Legion.
Let's go. Sorry, I just want to make it clear. Let's go. That's it. Thank you.
Oh yeah, for sure. That is. I feel like we might have talked about something like this before, because the whole like Alpha Legion brainwashing recruits and setting this thing into motion, it sounds oddly familiar. I don't know if that's just something the Alpha Legion do a lot, but this sounds familiar. Anyway, his entire chapter had fallen around him. Artegal managed to fight back one last time. He broke free and locked himself in his personal armory, but despite its apparent safety, he discovered the chapter master's master-crafted bolt gun already gone. Baldwin, his best friend and personal chamber castellan, had taken it and was aiming it directly at him. Oops.
And then it rained snakes.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Oh boy. That's just, you got absolutely effed over by the Alpha Legion. That's just what the Alpha Legion does.
It's so fun. I like the Alpha. I mean, I don't know. There's so much just pure, hey, armor man run in front of other armor man. And I want more. I want more of that. I want more of like deception and lies.
Yeah, the Alpha Legion show you that like you can win with brains beats brawn sometimes, right?
You can win without firing a damn shot.
Not a single shot. You can make the enemy do all the hard work for you. Yep.
Yeah. Why? What's this? What is it? Sun Tzu or who is it? Where it's like never interrupt your enemy when they're making a mistake.
That sounds like a Sun Tzu thing for sure. The Art of War. That definitely sounds like something from there.
All right, so we got the Emperor's swords now. They suffered pretty much the exact same fate, which is not very imaginative of the Alpha Legion side, but hey, if it ain't broke. For over a dozen generations, the Alpha Legion manipulated the slums, gangs, and sects of Garstengrad, the Emperor's Sword's homeworld. The Alpha Legion placed subconscious triggers in the rituals used by the gangs and sects. It was from these gangs and sects that the Emperor's Swords recruited new Space Marines. And so when the Alpha Legion attacked Gorstengrad, they were able to use these triggers to disorient and confuse a good number of the Emperor's Swords. Some even turned against their battle brothers. In the ensuing chaos, the Emperor's Swords were overrun. Part 2... Emperor's Swords Part 2, they all died as well. Imperium refused to take this lying down and created another chapter called the Emperor's Swords. No machinations of Alpha Legion this time, just pure lobotomite type real estate decisions. Swords built their fortress monastery on a Necron tomb world. Oh. You can guess what happened next.
Wow. Emperor's Swords are just cursed. First, the Alpha Legion gets them and kind of tricks them and kills most of them, all of them. And then it's like, okay, this time we got it. Lobotomites, no problem. They're not going to get Necrons!
That's... I like at first I was a little bit unsure, like, would that really work with this whole Alpha Legion thing? Because when you think about it, you know, like... when you become a Space Marine, you often get all your crap like messed with, and then you know like those signals probably shouldn't stay there. But then I realized that this is like chaos bullshit. So honestly, who cares?
Yeah. God, that's some terrible luck. God, you don't want. Oh man. The Astral Knights. For once, we can talk about someone who didn't shit the bed. Small-time Necron Lord was chilling and having a good time when time for Necron tier politics arrived, and his vizier, who wanted to conquer the universe instead of sitting at home watching Friends reruns all day, that sounds familiar, they overthrew his ass in a coup, enabled his long-dormant world engine, which is basically Necron Death Star, except it's better because it's not owned by Mickey fucking Mouse. For some reason, though, despite having the strongest ship to ever exist, the Necrons on board decided to start their mighty campaign of conquest by burning several Blackwater agriculture worlds instead of doing something productive. This hatred of corn, C-O-R-N, by the way, gave Imperium the chance to gather 15 Space Marine chapters and a giant Navy fleet and throw all of that at the World Engine. Unfortunately, World Engine was beyond killing and wiped the floor with the Imperial forces. Its shield was repelling all gunfire. Drop pods were bouncing off of it, and it was scrambling teleportation systems, causing squads of Terminators to teleport into open space. Wow. All seemed lost when Artor Amrad, yikes, what a name, the chapter master of the Astral Knights, decided to try a more subtle approach and smashed his battle barge right into the World Engine shields at full speed. Apparently, the shield was not tuned for defense against the Unga Bunga, so the barge went right on through, in pieces, and crashed into the engine. 700 Astral Knights landed on the world, and in about 2 days, 5, as in 5 dudes, were still alive. Oh, God. Including the chapter master. They made their way into the core of the world engine, where they set up the bomb, and blew themselves up along with the shield generator, allowing the rest of the fleet to shoot the shit out of the world engine, blowing it up. All memes aside, good job, Astral Knights. You kicked some robot ass that day. Unlike these next guys.
Yeah, that was one of the... I remember that thing where it's like, hey, here's a contingent of 15 Space Marines that basically invaded a Death Star and blew the damn thing up. Which it sounds pretty silly and far-fetched because, Necrons and all that stuff, but at the same time, it's cool enough. I'm happy with that.
Yeah, that feels like a like if you had a Venn diagram of 40K and Death Star, this feels like it's right in the middle of the Venn diagram where the two cross over. It kind of feels like that story where invading a Death Star and heroic sacrifice, 40K Space Marines and all. All you need is a trench run and you're good.
It's one trench run, turning off your targeting computer, the whole 9.
Yep.
And here we are wasting our resources by putting people in the stuff.
All right, next one.
What we got here? The Dark Paladins.
Ooh.
The Dark Paladins fleet traveled to the Imperium industrial world Jarman Primus to investigate the sudden loss of all communications. It was not long after the chapter's first Thunderhawk set down on Jarman Primus that they came under attack from mechanical Xenos. After hearing how the Xenos were not able to be killed, the Dark Paladins chapter master made the brilliant decision to send all his troops to fight an immortal threat, probably hoping that Necrons have a preset kill limit and sending wave after waves of his men at the killer robots will shut them down eventually. This guy was very unfortunately mistaken with a guardsman.
Yeah. Yeah.
He didn't realize. Sometime after Imperial Command got a call from the Dark Paladins, and from what the Imperium has been able to gather from whoever was on the phone sitting and pissing himself, the Dark Paladins fought a valiant battle against the Xenos before the Space Marines were finally overwhelmed and completely destroyed, along with their fleet. Most worryingly, the final garbled report from the Dark Paladins chapter master stated that even as the battle raged around them, the chapter's tech marines simply stood rigid and stared in awe at the mechanical Xenos, even as their battle brothers died in horrible ways. Damn, Paladins got no game. Don't just stand there and stare awkwardly at them. Go strike up a conversation. No won't kill you, but a Gauss obliterator sure will.
It sure will.
That's weird. Were they just actually staring in real awe? Because that seems weird. I would imagine it'd be some kind of electrical shit in their brains.
Yeah,
fucked.
Especially for a tech marine. You'd think the tech marines wouldn't just kind of stand there and be like, "Oh my god," and just be stunned to not do anything as their brothers were getting obliterated all around them. Right? That's kind of crazy.
That's kind of wild. I didn't actually. It's kind of funny when you read these things and it's just this entire what is this this entire Space Marine chapter just was fight the Necrons, and they just died.
Yeah, it's just oh yeah, just keep sending more. We'll get them eventually, maybe, probably. And it's no, sir, we're not getting them at all. All of our men are dying. Well, send more. Keep sending them. It's fine. Man, at some point, you gotta stop, right, and realize, okay, this ain't working. Let's jet, instead of just, it was probably a tomb world. Oh, if it was a tomb world, that's so much worse too. Good luck trying to outdo a tomb world. Anyway, Emerald Snakes, a fleet-based chapter called Emerald Snakes, was hanging out on their ships far away from any trouble, kicking back with some cold brewskis. Then Cadia blew up and Astronomicon went off. Realizing that they were stuck on the dark side of the Imperium, Emerald Snakes barely had time to say, well, fuck, before their fleet crashed into the expanding Cicatrix Maledictum and all of them got torn apart by demons. I got nothing for this one except this image of a cute Emerald Snake. Look at that funny little guy. He is a funny little guy. So they were just wrong place, wrong time when Cadia blew up. And you just lost a chapter because rip, wrong place, wrong time. You're in the middle of the Cicatrix Maledictum. The warp is going to eat you alive now.
That's actually
yikes.
Really, I don't know why, but just like the snake there, his eye being like, he's seen some things.
He's gone through some shit. Yeah. It's the last thing they saw in the Cicatrix. That's what they look like when they were, enveloped in the giant warp storm. Just, Yep.
Okay, what we got next? Number 10, the Obsidian Glaes. The Obsidian Glaes are a very interesting case. Their chapter master is also the planetary governor, but the governor title and crown that he wears under his helmet are entirely hollow because he has no subjects. Glaves live on a horribly irradiated death world where all human population is long deceased. The Glaves see being space marines as an endless atonement for their sins, so they recruit only youths sentenced to death and offer them service as an extended penalty. Their entire culture is based around punishment. Where other chapters consider their service to the Emperor their duty, the Glaves see it as a form of redemption for their crimes and failures. They will take blame, often self-appointed, for perceived failures and seek to offer penance for their shortcomings. Cases of self-flagellation have been recorded. The initiates of the Obsidian Glaves, as a part of becoming the Space Marine, go through the so-called sleep indoctrination, which tends to force out previous memories to be replaced with battle lore and tracks of the Codex Astartes. It is ironic that even though everyone of the Obsidian Glaves didn't remember who he was before the rebuilding, everyone still believes that they were guilty without any doubt. But then some orcs came around and killed all of them, the end. No, seriously, they have several short stories and a decent amount of lore dedicated to them, and then 7th edition mentions offhand in one sentence that the Red Waw by the orc war boss Gruck did a drive-by shooting and all of the Obsidian Glaves are now dead. Ouch, baby.
Wow. I was going to say, this all sounds like kind of cool, like this sort of self-pitying, masochistic chapter. I was like, oh, this sounds kind of cool and all this. How is this going to lead up to them being wiped out? Because that's what this episode is about. And I guess that's one way to do it. I guess. That just seems like such a waste because it sounds like kind of a dope chapter. Like, did they didn't know what to do with him, and they're just like, screw it. Just get rid of it. This is a failed idea. We were stupid for doing it. Have the orcs kill them or something. That just seems like such a waste.
I think they do this all the time, man. They so commonly just like throw a random bit in some kind of, I don't know, regular section of like a codex or something. It's like, oh, by the way, here's this really interesting lore. Ooh, we're never ever going to expand on it. Bye.
Yeah, and it's just, God, Obsidian Glaves sound kind of dope, actually, that they see their becoming a space marine as like extended punishment, and oh yeah, this is just extending your guilty sentence, and I kind of love that, and oh man, that's
that kind of blows.
Yeah, that actually blows. The Scarl Lords. The Scarl Lords took part in the first big war against the Tau, Damocles' Crusade, and fought in the invasion of the Sept world Daleth. Damocles' Crusade famously ended with a truce between Tau and Imperium, led by fan favorite Mr. Cryptman. Yes, definitely. Fan favorite Mr. Cryptman, because a massive Tyranid hive fleet was approaching both Imperial and Tau worlds, so they decided to settle for a tie. After the Damocles Crusade's conclusion, the Scarl Lords led an Imperial fleet that ambushed a Tau force that attempted to reclaim worlds in the Damocles Gulf. Both Tau and Scarl Lords suffered heavy losses, but the Xenos were ultimately able to break through thanks to the leadership of Commander Farsight. Unable to take the L, the chapter collectively put on a smiling face mask to cover up their tears and pursued the Tau until they reached heavily fortified worlds owned by Farsight. The battle proved catastrophic for the Scarl Lords, suffering over 90% losses, including their entire leadership. Inquisitor Vicola Herret subsequently wrote that the chapter had been scattered to nothingness, and the Tau recorded the chapter as extinct. Well, rip in pieces.
Kind of rip in pieces, not gonna lie. It's just like, hey, Tau, it's, hey, honestly, Tau doing it, not something we see too often.
Yep. That is definitely a case of you got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them.
I mean, that's the issue I always notice with Space Marines, is that they constantly don't know when to fold them.
Yep.
Because
know when to walk away, know when to run.
Knowing when to walk away is so important, and they just they keep doing it.
I feel like Space Marines have that issue because they're Space Marines. They have been made to believe and function, and through their whole system, it's like, you are the unbending weapon of the Empire. You're the best. You don't retreat. You can win. You can do it. Never surrender type of attitude, right? So I feel like for them, it's kind of just ingrained in their very being that, walk away, never,
Yeah, and I guess that's also, it's the Imperium, not the Empire. You're getting too fantasy pilled.
No! At least it's only happened once this episode.
That's true. All right. Number 12, the last and an interesting case. The Fists Exemplar are, surprise, Imperial Fist successors. Look at me, Ma. I'm channeling DK's inane sarcasm.
Oh, ha ha.
They participated in the War of the Beast, which we need to cover at some point, the most massive orc invasion in humanity's history, where orcs went as far as laying siege to Terra. The Beast started off the invasion of the human planets in the Ultima Segmentum, and Idolica, was one of the earliest to feel the warlord's wrath. In this war, orcs deployed teleporting Death Star attack moons capable of wiping out entire Imperial fleets, and one of the Beast's attack moons just happened to appear over Fist Exemplar's homeworld of Idolica. Jesus. Orcs launched an invasion, kicking so much ass that Humy breath smelled like shoe polish. Within the first hours of the invasion, the current chapter master Alameda was killed, and command fell to first captain until he too died at the orcs' hands. As their homeworld fell further into the orcs' control, second captain Maximus Thame took command of what remained of the chapter and prepared to defend Idolica to the last man. But the Black Templars Marshal Bohemond, whose fleet had arrived in Idolica's orbit, met with him and told the new chapter master the whole plan was already gone and there was no point in defending it anymore. He managed to talk the remaining Fist Exemplars into evacuation so they could help protecting other worlds of the Imperium. As Chapter Master Thane of the Fist Exemplar was participating in the defense of Terra from the attack moons, First Captain Zabarian was fighting his own desperate battle elsewhere, and eventually had to enter into a truce with an Iron Warrior warband who was also neck deep in shit trying to fend off the orc attacks. Reminder, this is an Imperial Fist successor chapter.
Yeah.
Making a truce with an Iron Warrior warband.
That they must have been very desperate. Yeesh.
Let's see here. So, some people voiced their concern, and Zabarian had to choose between dying to orcs or keeping traitor allies. So he chose the latter and put holes in all the loyalists who opposed him. That's wild to me. Holy shit.
Wow.
As the fighting got worse, Black Templars with High Marshal Bohemond arrived and started asking some serious questions like, quote, why the fuck are the Iron Warriors here just chilling?
It's a good question.
But then the orcs swarmed everyone again, and the Fist Exemplar, Iron Warriors, and Black Templars were forced to work together to defeat the orcs, which they eventually managed to do. That's crazy to me. I would much rather imagine the Black Templars just choosing, mutual instruction. I imagine they would just, I don't care. I'm killing every traitor I can.
Yeah, that is a wild holy trinity of allies.
At this point, though, of the 1,000 Fist Exemplars, there were only about 70 Marines left. When the fighting died down, Zabarian pleaded with High Marshal to spare the Iron Warriors because they all would be dead without their assistance. But High Marshal told Zabarian to suck his entire balls So the first captain killed the Black Templar, kneeled before the Monster Mash, and pledged his life to Graveyard Smash, and went to chaos. After that, Chapter Master Thane basically disbanded the 5th Exemplar because 99% of them are dead and the rest turned traitors. Happy ending.
Oh, that's a wild story.
That's funny to me though, because yeah.
That's crazy.
I was like, there's no way in hell a Black Templar guy would ever do that kind of stuff. And he's like, hey, spare the traitors. And then he's like, eat shit. And he killed them and killed the rest.
I am shocked that the guy was even like, oh, hey, Black Templar, how about we spare the in what world, even if they did just help say, in what world would a Black Templar be like, sure, yeah, it's fine. Iron War, no big deal. There's no world where the Black Templar, as soon as this is over, doesn't immediately just turn on them, right?
No, instantaneously.
Yeah.
There's a reason why we haven't covered the War of the Beast much, is because, as Shai said, it's a lot of books, and the books are not considered to be good quality.
Oh, yeah, that would do it.
The books are very much considered to be kind of weird and not written very well, and the war is weird and not written really very well, and so I like to keep, for the most part, the best stories, because those are nice to talk about, so all usual stuff. Anyway, would you like to read the final little bit?
Sure. And these are all the stories that Shai has got for you today. We will probably cover some of these events in more detail later, like Crimson Fish surely deserve an episode of their own, and so does the devastation of Baal. But when that will happen, I don't know. Thanks for watching or listening. Thank Christ I'm done writing for all these losers. Could be rewatching Columbo. Really? I wouldn't have anyway. Columbo on VHS for the 12th time right now, but here we are. Bricky has to OT on fentanyl in every furry convention bathroom that pops up in his godforsaken state, so we need Shai to write these scripts. That's fine. No, buy more ice and move the bodies ASAP. Quick climb gloves. Okay, cool. Yeah, delete this from the final edit. Yeah. To be fair, though, PAX West is not actually in Bricky's state. Right?
Correct.
That's not a California thing.
Nope. Granted, there are only 3 Western states, and we make up about half of the geography of it all. But it is Washington. It is in Seattle.
Yeah. Yep. So there you go.
It is. It'll be good.
Hopefully you have a good time doing it. I've never been to a PAX. I've never been to one of those gaming convention things, so I'm not entirely sure what you do at one. But hey, have a good time.
Hey, if I'm having a meet and greet at PAX, and
ooh, nice.
If I get some photos of it, maybe I'll send them and we can put them in the episode, because the episode will air after I'm back. And then anyone who I met at the meet and greet that knew us from Adric, that'd be dope. Happy to
cool.
Because I do get a few Adric folks here and there who actually, that's not true. I get a lot of Adric folks that come to the meet and greet, so it should be a solid time. And after that, we do have TwitchCon up and coming as well. So thumbs up.
Are you doing anything at TwitchCon?
The usual.
Okay.
Going around, talk to people, meet friends, meet fans, the usual type of thing. OD in a bathroom on. Shai, I take offense to what you're saying right now. You consistently refer to me ODing on fentanyl when you don't realize that's a Philadelphia thing. All right, I'm getting ketamine. Okay.
Yeah, get his OD drug of choice correct, please. It's so rude of you.
It's actually extremely upsetting to me that you wouldn't realize that I only stick with the pharma grade horse tranquilizer and none of this East Coast crap.
See you next time, everybody. No.